second here. All right, everybody. Hey there. Welcome to this month's Notified KC Artist Spotlight. I've got my Queer Narratives Festival t-shirt on, and we are ready to talk about the Queer Narratives Festival. We are joined this evening by three of our performing artists. Blair Armstrong, who is a dancer, Lava Dreams, performer, musician, and Waleska, who is a spoken word poetry artist. And welcome, my name is Stacey Bush. I'm the founder, president of Notified KC, and Kat here is one of our lovely board members who is also an artist and designer, graphic designer of this lovely t-shirt. So today we're gonna just talk about all of your work and have a good conversation about performance and queerness and everything in between. So let's get started with some introductions. Blair, you want to start us off?
Sure.
Founder, president of...
My name is Blair, and my pronouns are they, she, her. And I am a choreographer and dancer.
Cool. Lava.
See a notification.
Oh, great. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. I'm Lava. So I am a musician. I play electric guitar, and I make guitar-based electronic, kind of dancey, pop-ish music. And yeah, that's me.
My turn? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So my name is Waleska. I'm a writer. Poetry, to be more specific. I specialize in erotic poetry, and that's what I've been doing for a while. Not too much, but that's what I'll be doing at the festival spot.
Cool. Okay, here. Sorry, just getting this all set up. I'm posting this live on our Facebook right now, so you can all see it that way. Okay. So today we're going to just talk about the Queer Nerdist Festival, which is happening August 2nd through August 7th. It is a whole week of events and activities. The main festival is Friday, August 6th and Saturday, August 7th, where you will see all of the performing artists perform. And then we also have donation-based events, workshops, things with all of the artists as well throughout the week. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. And I think we can start with general queerness and how that impacts us as performers. If you take that into your performing self, if not, if there's differences between your personal self and who you are on stage and things like that. So does anyone want to like jump in right away and talk a little bit about this?
I could start.
Okay.
Yeah, so as far as like queerness goes and the idea of like performing queerness, at this point I feel like queerness is pretty integrated with me, if that makes sense. So no matter what I'm doing, it's gonna be queer because that's just who I am. But in terms of being an artist and putting myself out there, queerness has definitely come into play as just in terms of the way that I present myself. And like as a musician, as a lot of artists, you know, we have images taken, like we're on screens and we're on posters and stuff like that. And for me, just being a queer person who's like growing and learning and still coming into myself, it's been definitely a journey style-wise for me, and just like down to the clothes I wear and how I express myself every day, my gender and everything like that. So it's been something I feel like I've been hyper conscious of and hyper aware of, because I started to put myself out there when like I haven't even fully, like I'm not my full form, if that makes sense. Because I feel like as queer people, we have to recondition ourselves out of the sort of hetero normalcy that we've been brought up in. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that's how I feel.
I've had this discussion with like other friends of mine where, especially during the pandemic, not having to perform within the confines of the patriarchy and being able to like come to terms like what really makes me and how I view queerness. I've definitely seen more growth as an individual when that happened. So I definitely do agree that performance can go both ways, not just like in an entertaining aspect, but also in like in just how you go out about it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same way too as a performer. When I started performing, I was kind of more into honesty and like, how do I do that as a performer? Because performance has to be like elevated beyond, in order for it to work. And so I wondered, how do I be my real self? How do I be my authentic self and still be performing? And I think that's still a question that I think about all the time, and it changes as I become more comfortable with myself, kind of what Lava was talking about. Like, I feel like I'm constantly growing and evolving, and like it's never a perfect representation at any moment, but maybe that's kind of the vulnerability that is just built in with being a queer person and expressing yourself like just for who you are naturally. It's kind of a brave act in itself. And so I think that growing into myself and being more of myself, then that comfortability and confidence reads on stage, and it kind of naturally starts to bloom from there. I don't know. What do you all think?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, for me, I think this is very new. I started writing erotic poetry a long time ago. Like, the first book that I absolutely adored was The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. So she's all about this romance in a way, but very, very erotic all the time. And that's when I was like, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to learn how to do. And then I went and studied literature, and it was a long ride, but I never actually embraced my queer side doing it. It was very much straight headed, right? Especially since, I haven't been here a long time, but I do come from Latin America. And even though we sometimes think that we like here, oh yeah, there's so much homophobia, racism. Well, Latin America is there as well. And sometimes like here, I feel much more free to be myself in that aspect, for example. So I started writing more about my attraction to other genders. And that was amazing because I didn't know I could do that. And then I kind of felt like I didn't know where I was situated in this position. So I started talking to other people. I started to making some research even in groups on Facebook. And I literally was like, does anybody want to share their story with me? And they did. And I was really shocked that people actually wanted to talk about it. And then I started using those stories to put them into my poetry. That was amazing. So this is very new for me. And it's not only the first time that I'm going to be performing in English, also it's going to be the first time I'm going to be talking about this part of myself and embracing that into my art. So that's like a new project, but also a new journey for me. So that's how I've been embracing that part in my art. It's new, but I am loving it. I think it's so wide.
Yeah. I feel like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I feel like my relationship with like queerness and dance has been really interesting and like changed over the years because I grew up as a competitive dancer, and that's like all rhinestones, glitter, very like, you know, typical feminine clothes, all of that. And also very specific gender roles, like the guys lift the girls, all of that. Like I even remember being at an audition, and one of their comments about it was that I was just too much. I was like too like forceful in my dancing kind of, and that is supposed to be left to the men, and that was just like but yeah, dance and queerness and I have a really interesting relationship because I actually kind of discovered that I was queer through dance because there was like this beautiful girl that was like my first love, and that's how I started exploring my queerness was with through dance. And then I feel like I still was in that like competitive dance world where when it comes to like gigs and stuff, like I have to think about, do I have to shave my legs? Do I have to shave my armpits? Do I have to perform a specific way? And even with teaching kids, like I just felt like I constantly like had to mask myself a little bit when they asked me like if I had a boyfriend, and I had a girlfriend, but I didn't know how to go about it. And then as soon as I finally started to get more comfortable with myself and like start growing in dance and choreographing, I was like, whoa, I can make like dances about being in love with a girl. Like I can move masculine and feminine. It's actually like powerful. Like dance is powerful because movement doesn't have a gender. Movement is just movement. And so as soon as I started to see the power in dance and not like where the gates were like keeping me from fully expressing myself and like just really like embracing it and being able to create really what felt natural to me, that's when things like started to open up. And that's when I started to have other students that were queer that could relate to me, and just like, so dance and queerness for me go hand in hand. And now it's like who I am performing, who I am as like a queer person is just, it's just me now. And so
yeah, dance is like, I mean, talking about gender roles, it's like the ultimate gendered art form, I feel like. And yeah, I resonate with, not that I'm a dancer, but I work with a dance company, and so it is, that's really brave. And like I think it just takes a lot to break those barriers, and all three of you being your authentic self and using creativity and yourself to explore these areas. You know, people, that's the representation that we need, and people resonate with that and they grow from it and they feel a sense of community. I think that's one of the great things about the LGBTQIA alphabet and mafia queerness, is that it is about sharing stories and about creativity in a way, because we're all creative in how we are expressing ourselves, you know, compared to heteronormativity, you know. So I think that's what you're all doing is really important work.
Actually, about what Blair was saying, I think it's amazing because I just recently, since, you know, I'm trying to make friends here and all that, I started going to West Coast swing dancing. And that part of this was saying about femininity or masculinity in dancing. That is amazing because my teachers were like, you can, you know, do whatever you want, because we have to, in that kind of dancing, is the leader or the lead, sorry, and the word, right? So they're like, sure, you can, you know, learn whichever you want, whichever you feel more comfortable with, but it's also very good for you if you learn to do both. What I found in that community that is amazing, and I love it so much, but most people who are more identified with their gender role, you know, the biological, social gender role, some women that tend to not to try being leads, some men that don't want to try to be followers. but also I found that more women are the ones who try to learn how to lead as well. And I think that's very, very, very valuable that we're opening ourselves as society to, even in dancing, understand that both roles are very important. And if you understand both things are happening, it's more likely that you're going to be better at it. And I think that can apply to everything, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like as queer people, like a lot of times that overlaps with some sort of like gender questioning identity, or at least like expression, because I don't know, at least for me, like if you're not automatically in that role of like a man and a woman together, like being hetero, it's kind of like, what are my roles? Like, what are my limits? Like, how do I want to express myself? And it feels more open and more free in a way. And I feel like all of society can benefit from queer representation, because the more I come into balance in my life, like in all these different areas, I realize that every human has, you know, masculine and feminine energies. And even really what it is just like, you could say it as like giving and receiving energies or something like that. But like we all have both of those, that duality. And so, I don't know, I think it's really cool to have that representation. And not only in the, like we talk about it all the time in the media, but I think that it's really going to be really cool to have that representation in real life at a live show, at a festival. And I'm just super happy that we have that here in Kansas City right now.
Yeah.
So I have a question for everybody. So as performers, when someone is going to go to the festival, when they see you perform, who is what like your performance for? Like, what do you want someone who sees your performance to get out of it? Like, I want to know, like, who is your perceived, like, perfect audience to see that performance? Like, what do you want them to experience, get out of it? Do you want them to end up feeling like they just discovered something? Like, I want to know what someone's going to get out.
Coming in with a big question.
I think it's one. It's to the root of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'll even start like what even though I'm not a performer, like my visual art deals a lot with like sexuality, kinks, and like view of personal self, usually in the sexual manner. And I make my art for the confused child within me when I was like in high school and middle school, who's like questioning my sexuality, being interested in like these different or like extreme things, and wanting to experiment with like sex with like different genders, with non-binary people, and living especially in the Hispanic community, like you were saying, Waleska, it's very rigid. And especially in like a heavily Catholic household, they're like, you have this role and you have this role and you cannot stray away from it. And especially if your family is like immigrated here from America, they have this perceived idea that if you go off the beaten path, that you will be viewed less than, and that they see that you're already going to get into like more issues going on into the future. So even though like my art might not be so obvious that it's speaking to that specific audience, I would like someone who also felt that strict household that they couldn't express themselves in, and feel that when they see my art, that at least they have someone out there in a visual manner that they can relate to. And then hopefully have that conversation with someone that they trust.
Yeah, I can. I think for me, and part of what Notified's mission is that, I mean, speaking of family backgrounds, I grew up in a Catholic family as well, but I mean, not just that, a lot of addiction as well. And so it was silence, nobody said anything. No one talked about anything. It wasn't, you're not supposed to disclose personal information to your family, or to have those discussions. It's very like surface level. And I think in my work and getting sober and doing that whole journey, I became kind of really obsessed with like talking, like just having those conversations, and what does it mean to just be able to talk to someone about that, and talking, I think of talking to the audience about these things. And it's just like needed conversations that I now want to have and feel like we should have. And, that's part of No Divide's mission, is just mostly about storytelling and allowing people to speak and be themselves in a very inclusive environment where we're having that safe space to just talk about these things that for me were totally silenced, and I feel still, uncomfortable unwrapping that and disclosing that to other people. So that's what No Divide is here for, and that's what the festival is here for as well.
Yeah.
I think,
No,
I
you go.
doing that. I'm sorry, girl. Okay. No, the question has been bugging my head. Like, who am I writing for? I have no idea. But I do have some points here about what you were saying. So I do write about sex mostly, just as Kat's art, right? It's like built on the idea of sex. And I think we can all connect with that idea. Why? Because we were all born through that idea. I think the primitive side of it is something we try to, I don't know, make it look like it's a bad thing. And it's literally what we needed to be born here, or most people needed, because of course, some didn't. But the point here is the unity of bodies is what I'm trying to get. I think I am not trying to be an inspiration for anyone, or I've never tried to, but I think that the idea of sex can connect us a lot, and sometimes we miss that. I think there was this time that I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, yeah, I'm writing poetry. And like, oh, you do? I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah, oh, I do too. And then she started talking to me about how we don't have enough female writers that do erotic poetry for blind people. For example, that was like a random thing. We don't have anyone in Latin America who identifies or is a woman that writes in or has been translated to Braille. Not one. And that hurt a little bit, because I think we as minorities need to support each other. All of them. We need to stand together. And if that's something that can happen through poetry, even through poetry inspired in sex, or visual arts inspired in sex, like that, literally that super tiny conversation. It was random. We weren't even talking about our project or anything like that. Just a random conversation led to there. I think I'm not writing for anyone, but I am trying to connect and to learn more every day. And I think things like that take us to learn more about all these minds in the planet Earth. Like, there's so many different realities that we are not even aware about. Like things like that. I would have never even thought about that. And then she is very smart though. So she told me that, and I learned from that. But I'm not trying to talk to anyone, but I am trying to connect to people that might speak my same mind language. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Lava, what were you gonna say?
What was I gonna say? Let me see. Okay, so yeah, back to the question. For me, it's like, I don't know, maybe kind of relating to what you were saying there at the end, Waleska, but it's definitely my intention to connect, and like, I don't know who's gonna connect with my music. Like it could be someone who identifies similarly to me and like relates to me in those ways, and it could be someone completely different from me. But for me, the intention is, just to express my creativity in the best way that I can. And I relate to some of you as well, like in the way that I was brought up. It was a very similar, like kind of suppressed, like not much was talked about, especially if it was something difficult or something taboo, you know, or something, anything negative really, or yeah, it was just not talked about. And so that the way I grew up was just to not express myself, you know, to suppress that. And it just feels powerful to take my creativity and put it out there and be like, oh, this is my voice, and whoever can connect with it, like I'm happy with that. So it just feels empowering just to do it, you know?
Yeah.
I would agree with you in whoever, like I do just want to connect to, and same thing with like wanting to express my creativity. I feel that on this like dance journey of mine, it's been a lot of like other people's like ideas and fitting whatever mold that they wanted. And this is one of the first times that like I feel fully comfortable to fully express like literally just my own ideas and not really have any boundaries with like focusing on sexuality, focusing on like, honestly, like I used to think that like being like sexual like as a dancer was like a bad thing, and I used to kind of repress it because I was like, oh, you can do it in a much more tasteful way. And then something just changed where I was like, no, like I'm a sexual person, so why am I hiding this? Like, and so that's really cool to be able to just, I feel like being sexual is kind of empowering, so it's cool to show that. And then I really just want to connect with people that are kind of probably going through this. I feel like a lot of us are constantly like evolving and constantly changing and constantly working on finding that love within ourselves, especially like away from like other people's thoughts of you and all of that. And so I just want to connect with people that are working on that self-love and finding that like independence in themselves, because that's currently what I'm going through. And naturally when I make art, my art is a representation of the spot I am in my life. So, and that can be anyone, just whoever needs it.
Yeah. What do we think about Kansas City? Oh, Walensky got your hand raised.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about Blair. When we started talking and you started talking about shaving your legs as a dancer, I think you should embrace that. I don't know if you do it or if you don't, but when you don't, I am pretty sure that the little 13-year-old me that at some point wanted to be a dancer because I wanted to be everything. That would have made me not shave my legs for the first time when I was 13, because I regret that a lot. You should think about that and talk about that, because you are talking to people here. Like if I would have heard you at 13, that would have impacted me a lot. I know you said connect and all that, but you connected with me big time talking about shaving legs by being a dancer. Like, it's a long road.
That's cool to hear. And don't worry, baby, I got my pits. They've been for a while, and I haven't shaved my legs like since the pandemic started, and I don't think they're gonna be shaved. But I will admit, like I speak that I am like so full in like my queerness, and so like confident in it. But I do have to admit something. I still wear t-shirts because I still get a little bit scared about showing my armpit hair. But hearing you say that, next time I go to teach a dance class, I'm gonna wear a tank top. I just like get nervous about the little kids asking me like, why is it like that? But you know what? That's gonna be one.
Just take a picture and tag me. I'll be like,
yes.
Getting to see someone just confident in themselves with or without body hair definitely would like I've definitely like gone out, even like sometimes to a mall. I think like the first image I ever seen of somebody with their body hair out unashamed was I think like a Hot Topic employee. And I used to live in Miami, so that place gets humid as hell. So like this girl was like total pits out with her tank top, and she was beautiful. I was like, oh my God. She looked like a goddess that worked at the cashier, just full all natural. It was crazy. But yeah,
You would be a Hot Topic.
it would be a Hot Topic. Definitely with all the piercings and everything, chain on her pants. And no, I just thought she was the coolest fucking person.
In the mall back when you went to Hot Topic in the mall
And try to steal something, the eyeliner, and the eyeliner.
get a piercing at Claire's and steal. Oh, those days. Cool. So I was going to ask, how do we feel about Kansas City as a community? And, do we, like, if you feel comfortable here, the artist community, are you inspired by it? What can be improved? What do we like about it? Your thoughts about KC?
You guys are literally my first encounter, so I have no idea. Everyone that I know here, like 90% are queer people, because I don't know, it happened that way. So I'm pretty sure, like, all I can see is that the community is out and it's working towards real goals, and it's trying to support people everywhere. That's how my experience has been. I have no complaints. I am super happy with it here. I've never ever connected with more people like me I have done here in Kansas City. So I am extremely comfortable and happy to be here, especially with No Divide Case. I don't even remember where it was the first time that I saw the calling to the festival, but I was panicking about it, because I usually panic about everything. But I just felt like it called me in a weird way, and it's been awesome so far.
We are excited to have you and to have your special experience here. I remember you messaged me, you're nervous about the application because you hadn't performed in English, and I was like, you can get it. You can also not perform in English also, but we're very excited to have this performance by you. So thank you.
And then I saw Jessica Ayala is gonna be there.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel tiny.
Oh.
I'm so new. I feel like a baby next to her. She's amazing. And I'm gonna be there like with my sheet of papers and stuff like that. But it's a new experience. I'm happy. I'm nervous, but I'm happy.
We're all the same, everyone is an artist on the Queer Narratives Festival. There's no like hierarchy in that, and that's what's so great. It changes every year, and we try to get a great combination of people and talents and stories. So you are just as welcome and a part of it as anyone else.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that I'm not native to Kansas City. I've been here for like 6 or 7 years now. And I do really like the arts community here. And I like the little pockets of great people and great artists. And I do think that it's better than a lot of cities actually in terms of arts funding and what there is available for artists in the city. Not that those areas can't be improved, but it is better than some places. And so I like that. And, I really enjoy the eclectic kind of community here, and that for the most part, artists are very welcoming and supportive of each other. Like, I don't know that you get that in other cities. Like I don't feel the competitiveness that you get in other locations. And it feels like everyone understands that the more we lift everyone up, like the better everyone's situation is. And I think that's what's really great about Kansas City.
I will say I've definitely experienced that too, especially kind of within more queer spaces and like around other queer artists too. It's like, it's not really, I've never really seen anyone be competitive with each other. It's more like we're all just inspired by each other and we love to see it. Like, you know, like I love to see all of you, like I'm excited to see all of you perform. And the fact that it is so diverse and so many different art forms makes it even more exciting. So, yeah.
Yeah, I am gonna miss the queer community when I move to Florida because it really does have a special place in my heart. So many cool people that I've connected with, so many cool creatives. I completely agree with like when I'm on a project where it's mostly where queer people are involved. It's more like everyone's just working together and we're all like in it to make it the best we can. And I don't always feel that when I'm doing other gigs that are a little bit more heteronormative. I feel like there's this competition of who's better and whatnot. And I don't know if that's just because like us as queer people understand that we're like, yes, I know you've had the mask like most of your life. So like we understand each other a little bit better. So I really do appreciate that. I think where we could do a little bit of work in the queer community is bringing more people of color, because as somebody who's mixed, I constantly am very aware of like who's in the room, and that's something I've kind of noticed is I don't see as many queer people of color, and I don't necessarily know why that is, but just finding a way to like bring us all together would be like I think a positive improvement for it.
Totally.
The one critique I would also have with Kansas City, but this can also like go with any sort of art community in any city, is that I feel that we really should make an emphasis on not to put just celebrating queer voices just for the summer, that this should be an all year thing, an all the time thing, every season, every which way. I understand that there is a highlight for, you know, June through August to try to celebrate queer voices, but we really should try to push the idea of like not just summer. We need to make it all year, all the time, everywhere.
Yeah.
And even like, you know, be in the same spaces and get to participate in the same galleries as heteronormative artists, because I do think that there is some gallery spaces and some performance spaces that would like be nitpicky about what type of artists you are. It's not that common, but there are places that I don't feel like I would be welcomed at here in Kansas City. But I see as time has gone on that they're more like open to the idea of like having more taboo artists come in that isn't just this certain subject matter that's like okay for the masses. But if and when we're able to push that idea of like being queer all the time, every time, in any space available, then I feel like as a society, even within the own art community and everywhere, we'll just see more progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree that one area we could do better at in Kansas City is just like having even like at the more mainstream venues and shows, like, are there queer people on the bill? Are there people of color on the bill? Or is it just all white men? Like,
yeah, we have to make that a mandatory thing all the time.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see more of that, and like not just feel like, yeah, our queer spaces are great, but on a wider level, it's kind of still separated. You know, it's like, as far as art goes, like sometimes it feels like queerness is a category and it's not, you know? So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
That's a really good point. And like, I think in terms of like inclusion in general, like what we see now are like concerts of all women, concerts for people of color, concerts for queer people, and then like normal concerts, you know, where, so it's still segregated by diversity rather than just integrating everyone into, you know, every event. And I do think that that's an important thing. And I also think it's important to cultivate, you know, the community just as queer people have a place to celebrate. That's all ours in addition. But I definitely think concert programming is still largely segregated like that. So speaking of that, let's talk about the performances at the Queer Narratives Festival. So the main festival is Friday and Saturday evening, and the performers will be performing on both nights. It's the same lineup each night, hosted by Ruby. And so each artist gets a 20-minute set. And what can we expect? What's going on? What's in the works, people? Waleska?
Before I interrupt someone. Yay. Well, what I'll be bringing to the festival is, as I named before, it's totally new for me. It's a new project, but what I have been doing is, of course, poetry, but not completely inspired in erotism, more as inspired in queer experiences. What I did was my experience plus other people's experience, plus erotism in some of them, plus what I specialized in, that is symbolism and mythology. That's actually what I did my thesis on back in Mexico. I used, psychoanalysis and metacritics and all those big fancy words. But what basically I've been doing is using mythology to kind of reward the experience of being gay. I try to use certain gods of different cultures to make metaphors about us empowering ourselves. I use a lot of metaphors. I think that's a problem, but I really like it, so I don't care that much. So that's what I've been trying to do. I think we don't understand really how much of gay history there is in so many different cultures, because we're so self-centered in what we were colonized by, Catholicism, Christianism, and I want to reappropriate not all of it. I don't have that much to live, but I want to reappropriate this ideas of the Madonna, the Virgin, Christ, and just be like, so we're here too. How can we use this for us? And of course, it can be, huge crisis for so many people. But I don't want to offend anyone. What I'm doing is literally reappropriating what I grew up with, and how I would have probably grew up happier, more accepting of myself, using that, and also the love that I have for, you can see Ganesha right there, just amazing. I am a freak for mythology, and I'm just combining all. And I don't want to make it sound like it's a huge thing, because it's not. It's an experiment that I've been working on. But that's basically more or less what I've been trying to do.
That sounds really exciting. I'm all about that. That's really cool. Lava, Blair?
Yeah. So from me, all year this year, I've been releasing an album, and I'm releasing it one song at a time. So right now I have 5 new songs this year out, and if you can find my music online, and the newer ones are some of what I'll be performing at the festival. It is dreamy, it's electronic, dancey, and then I'll be playing guitar and I'll be singing, and all my music is really just coming from my own emotions and my own experiences. So that's what you can expect.
It's gonna be a good show. I know it. Blair?
Sorry if you can hear the loud bugs, but mine, you can expect 5 different pieces that will tell a story. I guess it's queer narrative, so that makes sense. I have 3 other dancers that are seriously amazing. I couldn't have had better people for the part. To describe it, I feel like each piece has like a different kind of vibe. The first one is kind of like unbothered bad bitch. The second one is just like fun. The third one, you can expect some like love and some sensuality. The fourth one, which I've been really like thinking about a lot lately, is the idea of pettiness. I really hate being a petty person, and I hate the feeling, but it's something that sometimes like I have to work through, and to be able to just put that pettiness out in my art rather than in the universe or in life. And because I think that we all have some of that, especially like, for instance, like an example, like when you and a person like split up, whether it's a friend or like a partner, there's always that idea of like, look, I'm doing great, I'm doing fine. And so that's kind of one of the things that has been heavy on my mind, is just that nasty feeling of being petty. So it's kind of like very performative and just like kind of disgusting. But then the idea, like the last emotion I would describe for the 5th piece, is just finding like that love within yourself and realizing that you don't need anybody to be complete. Like you complete yourself, and just like a feeling of empowerment. And my dancing is inspired a lot from hip hop and jazz funk, so you can expect those specific styles in it.
So look at that. 3, this is just 3 of the talent that we have coming up, and so different, and so all this is so interesting. And Waleska will also be doing a poetry and archetypes workshop on one of our days here. So check out for that. Let's see, what else? Just some No Divide stuff that we got to get out there. Buy your tickets. If you want to support local queer artists, buy your ticket. There's a student and low income price. You can also buy one of these t-shirts. We have some like fun stickers that you can buy. We're not like one of these giant organizations that we're like profiting off of these t-shirts and these artists. Like grassroots, and all this is going to putting on these events and helping artists and people be able to express themselves. So help us out. Yeah, other than that, any final thoughts?
Can't wait to see you all in real life.
Yeah, I guess, are there any upcoming things in the meantime, or any shout outs, follows, stuff you want to
Off your socials.
Blair,
Yeah.
why don't you start?
Do I just say it? Or
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on Instagram mostly. It's bl.armstrong. Follow me. You'll see some dance videos and probably stupid posts from me, because I don't know, that's where I express myself the most. So
Cool. Lava, what's coming up? What do you got?
So I definitely have some shows coming up here in Kansas City, and if you follow me on Instagram, it's just Lava Dreams, and I post all of my shows on there. So if you ever want to see me live, follow me on Instagram. I also have my music on Spotify. I'm on YouTube, and I'm gonna be putting out some like full music videos at some point in the next few months. So you can follow me on YouTube, listen to my music online, and I'm on every streaming platform. So
Cool. Alaska?
I only have my Instagram. That's Walegrafia, which is WALEGRAFIA. It's a long thing, but yeah. I usually just post my work, poetry, and I will say this, so I, you know, make myself do it. I want to start posting what I will be reading at the festival. Like just a couple things, not everything, because I want to leave something for the surprise. But I also want people to like have an idea of what am I gonna be doing, right? So if only I probably must to go there and start doing that work.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Next week for our Hot Dish series, we're also going to focus on Queer Narratives Festival. We're going to have some special guests talking about queerness coming out in the pandemic, particularly trans issues, and coming out maybe throughout this past year, and reuniting here at this festival and what that whole thing is like and how we feel about it. So that's gonna be next Thursday, same time, same place. And we will see you first week of August. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.